European Union Foreign Affairs.
Welcome to the Cryptocurrency Odyssey Show. The Cryptocurrency Odyssey Show highlights the latest news on cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, disruptive technology, economics, and world events. They interview top thinkers and entrepreneurs in the industry, and they cover topics like Bitcoin, technology developments, investing, trading, and ICOs. As our world keeps getting more and more digital, cryptocurrencies are changing along with it. Okay, audience, here's the host of Cryptocurrency Odyssey, Matt Leach.
Well, hello, listeners. Welcome back. Today's show is an update to our show about exchanges for cryptocurrency and the strategies you can use to make money with cryptocurrency and what it could mean to you. We're going to talk about the complexity of working with exchanges in order to get us all more educated about this industry of cryptocurrency. My co-host today is Noah Leach, our current guru on this subject, and he'll be helping me educate all of us about the subject. Hi, Noah. It's great to see you back here again.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Good, good. Now, here's a quick description of what an exchange is and how it functions. Basically, you're probably familiar with it. The attempt we're going to attempt to bring some light into the area of investing in cryptocurrency and how to avoid pitfalls like we've seen in the exchange market as of late. We've adapted and augmented the content, of course, because we've been asked for more current exchange information. So today we'll have a look at how, as a user of cryptocurrency, it could be an economic path to freedom. But first, a quick review of what we're going to talk about. The SEC got in on this one, so excuse me, they've taken a high-profile public action against crypto exchanges lately. Coinbase, one of the largest crypto exchanges in the industry, is currently involved in an SEC investigation over allegations of improperly letting Americans trade digital assets as securities. The various exchanges are in different stages of investigation, but they're all under investigation according to the staffer, the U.S. The U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission has pushed back on the SEC's pressure on the crypto industry, alleging that the SEC is engaging in regulation through enforcement, thus creating tension between the two financial regulatory agencies. While the SEC wants to resolve the tension, Loomis's staffer, who's in charge, said that legislators would get involved if it's not resolved expediently. They also expect Congress to side with the CFTC on the matter. At least one senior executive at an exchange told Forbes that several exchanges had received Wells notices from the SEC, which are used to inform companies formally that an action is to be brought against them. Now, the staff doing this has been involved in creating legislation to start taking steps toward regulating digital assets like crypto. Lummis co-sponsored the Responsible Financial Innovation Act alongside Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who is a Democrat from New York, and introduced the legislation to Congress in June. The bill is being considered by the Finance Committee. Congress has taken additional actions toward regulating the industry in the last few weeks, and Senators Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat from Michigan, and John Boozman, a Republican from Arkansas, introduced the Digital Commodities Commuter Protection Act of 2022, nice long name, giving the CFTC new powers to regulate digital commodities. And the crypto exchange Hotbit seems to be the first to get involved with the government because of the new regs. So that's where we're going to start today. Noah is our Hotbit expert. And now that we've got that information out in the open, Noah, what do you think of Hotbit suspending service due to legal issues.
No, it's definitely something that I'm going to be watching, especially for the legal aspect of what's going on. Apparently, what happened was that one of the employees there was doing something that was not allowed. They didn't elaborate in the articles I could find about what was happening, but apparently the federal investigators are investigating that employee as well as Hotbit to figure out what he was doing and how that affected Hotbit's ability to service their customers. And since then, they've suspended all of Hotbit's ability to trade or pull money out or anything like that. Everything's frozen. And there's still a lot of information out there. Still isn't a lot of information out there, so we'll be seeing what happens there. But I guarantee that because of something like this and what's happening with Coinbase and everything, that regulation is coming in one form or another, and this is just pretext for regulation.
Okay. Now, we've heard so much about Coinbase and other exchanges. I haven't heard of Hotbit, and they kind of just came right out of the blue. So
yeah, I think they're bigger over in like the UK and Japan and stuff like that, because I've seen it. They're here in the US too, but I've seen it, but I've never traded on that exchange. Like Bitmart and stuff like that is what I've seen more of on for smaller exchanges in the U.S. anyways.
Okay, what blockchain is Hotbit on? Do you know?
Nah, I don't know.
No.
I assume that they trade anything related to Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, because it looks like some of the blockchains may be getting in trouble with the SEC too. I was reading an article about that, where they were talking about the blockchain should be providing some regulation.
I mean, they do to a certain extent, just how the coins are traded and how everything works. But I mean, I don't think it's really up to the blockchains to decide how people should be trading.
No.
I mean, I don't think that's really what they're there for. They're more there to provide more of a service than to limit people on how they use that service. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They're basic. They're like the basic the road, the
Right.
road that we're driving on. But I don't see that they have a lot of responsibility unless they've got a lot of investment in, like the exchange or maybe some of the coins that are being invested on the exchange.
Yeah, from like a legal standpoint, I could see what they're trying to say for like the developers of Bitcoin and stuff like that, but I don't think that since they aren't the ones creating they're creating their own exchanges, but since they aren't the ones running these ones that are getting in trouble, I don't see how they can have any issue, have a problem with it, unless there was some sort of contract between them and the offending exchanges,
So they couldn't have a really much of a say type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they might give the exchanges a discount on their coins so that way they can make some money too, but other than that, I don't see how they could be liable for what Coinbase does or be liable for what Hotbit does or what Bitmart does or anything like that, because those are completely separate exchanges. They might trade and sell the coin and have it on their exchange, but that doesn't make the Bitcoin developers liable for what they do. So
Right. Now, how is all of this regulation or looking at regulation affecting the stock market right now? Because it looks like the SEC is so involved with crypto right now that they're not watching the stock market. Are those guys cheering, or what are they doing?
I don't know. I mean, I'd assume that the SEC is big enough that they can focus on two things at once, but who knows? They might just have their regular people looking at the stock market, make sure everything's going smooth. But I mean, I don't think that the SEC is a good governing body for the stock market in the first place. So more than likely, they're
Well, the
probably
regulators, yeah.
yeah, they aren't good at that. I think,
Uh-huh.
because I mean, there's one of my stocks that I was talking about last week just posted their earnings of 2,300% revenue, which what's the number one driver of stock price? Revenue generated for a company, right?
Uh-huh.
They might be negative on their profit, but they're generating a ton of revenue. And so that's a bullish sentiment for people that are looking to buy stocks. 2,300% increase in revenue over the one quarter. That's crazy, right? But yet the stock still tends to, it jumped quite a bit and then now it's going back down and losing all of its gains. And I'm like, you can see it on the chart. I'm like, well, the SEC should be stepping in to make sure that everything that's happening is happening the way it should be happening, and
Right.
they're not because they don't give a damn. is my
Well,
feeling of it.
okay.
But
Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're too busy with crypto to. Well, okay, because crypto, Bitcoin did the same thing.
yeah, they might be stretched thin, especially if they're investigating like Hotbit and they're investigating Coinbase, which is a huge company all on its own, anyways. So yeah, I can
So,
see.
was there any other stocks that jumped up like that, or even 100% would be nice.
Now, there's one that I just heard about yesterday, but I didn't look into it until today, so I missed out on some gains. But this it's a MEGL, and it's like Magic Empire Global something. I don't know exactly what they do. I haven't looked into it too much, but I've been watching it because it's gone up uh from like yesterday it was at $9, and this morning it was at $20.
Okay,
So
so
I was
that's
like,
over
that's
100%.
yeah, that's quite a jump,
Yeah, yeah.
and in one day. And I'm not sure what's driving that, but I think it's something to do with people that are betting against the stock's rise, getting
Short,
yeah,
shorting it.
shorts,
So,
the
short
shorts as they
sellers.
call them, short sellers,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them, are in a bad position right now because it rose too much too fast. So now they have to cover, but there aren't enough shares to cover. So it's about to go into something that's called a short squeeze, but we'll see what happens with it.
A short squeeze.
Yeah, it's really it's a meme stock that I believe Reddit is pushing. So it looks like they're trying to do what they did with GME with this stock, or what they did with GameStop, going from like $5 to 350. I think was the highest GameStop went, or somewhere around there. Maybe it went a little bit higher, but so I think that's what they're hoping for. I bought a couple shares, just about $50 worth. I was like, hey, I'll see what happens.
Okay.
It's if I end up doubling my money, I'll be a happy camper.
Well, sure. Yeah, yeah. And so, I keep hearing more about Reddit, more and more, and I wasn't hearing a whole lot about Reddit, a couple of years ago. But I guess, is Reddit turning into its own exchange, or?
No, it's just like the old school BBSs, bulletin board systems,
Right.
but only it's more advanced. So you just sit there and talk with people pretty much, and people will post their due diligence of what they think a stock is going to do and stuff like that, and you can weed through it and just read the sentiments and stuff. It's a great place to, if you're a sentiment trader, like a lot of people are going to be getting into that stock that I was just talking about because the sentiment is highly on the bullish side for it. So a lot of people are going to be doing the fear of missing out and buying as many shares as they can get, and then they're going to end up getting caught in what's called a bull trap, where you buy a bunch of shares and then it tanks.
Well, yeah, yeah. Pump and
And
dump.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So,
So when you see something rise that quick, expect it to drop just as quick again, because that's what they call a bull trap, and everybody that got in early is just waiting for it to rise 100% or 50% or whatever to sell all their shares to make that money, and then when it goes back down, they'll do it again.
right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that the SEC is trying to regulate with crypto right now.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a whole lot that they can do about that, because there isn't really any regulation in there, and people have been doing that for so long now that they're pretty much pros at skimming, or, making small purchases and then selling when they're in profit, even if it's like $5 or $10 in profit. They'll sell and wait for it to drop again, then they'll do it again and try and scalp that, which is called scalping. You scalp the stock or the security that you're trying to make some money off of, and if you have enough money in your account, you can do that 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day.
Okay. Okay. So, since you mentioned that, I have an article here. It's called "Lovely Inu," and it's talking about Shiba. Top project listed in more than 20 exchanges is the new Shiba, and I guess this is a Lovely Inu giant listed on the largest exchanges in the world, and with the potential to be the new Shiba, marketing giant in TV commercials, sports championships, billboards, and more. And I guess that's where they're getting their value to be a cryptocurrency. Right now, Lovely will not only be listed on exchanges, will do a DEX buyout and share the text hash on Twitter as proof. Lovely went from gold to titanium sponsor of Crypto Expo Dubai. So I have never been to Dubai. I'd like to go to that. In fact, I've been to very few crypto expos, mostly online. But Lovely ads live on a Bain Sport channel during Super League football tournament. And I'm not sure what kind of football that is. I haven't watched it. Lovely is a BEP20 token that started on the Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain is much greater speed and efficiency than other competing chains. With decentralized exchanges on BSC offering lightning fast swaps and extremely low fees, BSC has started to become one of the most widely used blockchains for decentralized finance. Now, are you familiar with that one at all?
With Binance, yeah.
Well, Binance.
I'm looking up Lovely right now.
Well, I guess BSC, and that would be Binance Smart Chain. Yeah. Become one of the most widely used blockchains for decentralized finance. I have not worked with that at all. And do you have you done anything with Binance?
No, other than buy their BSC coin, or the Binance coin. I haven't done any trading on there, but the coin has high potential to make a lot of money. I have to look up what the coin is right now. Let's see if I can't find it here real quick.
So BSC uses a token protocol developed by the Binance team called BEP20, known for 5-second block speeds, which is much faster than Doji with 1-minute block speed. So I guess that's better, with... You're not standing around waiting for it, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Right now it's at 314. It's down $4 today, but that's for the Binance coin.
So is that 314?
Yeah, $314. Yeah. 52-week high of 669. I think we talked about that last week too.
Yeah. We've.
I mean that coin when. The market originally tanked, that coin got down to like $50 or something. I should have bought some then. But
and now it's jumped back up.
Yeah, $314. They expect that coin to go quite far. I believe that's going to be a Ethereum killer eventually.
An Ethereum killer, huh?
Eventually, if they don't get their act together, we'll see.
Well, Ethereum's up to what, 1,500 right now?
Yeah, but down from its all-time high of like 3,300.
Yeah. Well, everything's down, and Ethereum is like the number 2 coin still, and they're going to the big break is coming. Not the big break, the merge. I think that's this month, isn't it? Isn't Ethereum going to merge with do that new fork thing?
I think, but I'm not sure exactly when they're going to do it.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to be an improvement?
Yeah, we'll see. It's supposed to be. They're hailing it as an improvement. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're calling it Ethereum 2.0 or something like that.
I guess, right. Yeah, Ethereum 2.0, but Ethereum Classic was a little bit slow from what I understand. And that's what the big thing is with Ethereum 2.0 is it's going to be faster, and the network will handle more because it's going to be improved. But they've had a lot of problems getting it merged. Seems like it's one problem after the other, and I think the original merge was about 6 months ago. Was the original date for the merge, and I don't remember what happened, but it didn't happen. The merge didn't happen.
Right.
So anyway, lovely liquidity pools and listings are constantly added by many completely independent enthusiasts and supporters on a number of different exchanges, along with Bitmart, PancakeSwap, Hotbit, Latoken, and the top global exchanges too. Gate.io, MEXC, HUOBI. I'm not even sure how to say that one. Huobi, and they're calling it a moonshot. So that's that's my little interjection for for today, for this morning. But anyway, that's kind of where we're going with this. There's a lot of wait and see right now, and so it's kind of like that's what we have to do. So things aren't really moving very good. But anyhow, right now, I think we should do a station identifier. And audience, this is a quick reminder. You're listening to Cryptocurrency Odyssey, airing live weekly on KWRH 92.9 FM on Fridays at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, Missouri, and nationwide on Zeno.fm /your city. So you can pick us up on your city, right? L.A. or Detroit or whatever city you're in. And you can do that Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, if you like what you hear and you'd like to sponsor us, give a call and let's talk. It's a free consultation. You can also contact us on YouTube. Just search for Cryptocurrency Odyssey and then subscribe so that you get a notice when we're having when we put up a new video. And that's all there is to it. Now, on the other side, we do have a coin that you can mine with an Android phone. It's a free app. You can get the coins at a low price as they're already on an exchange, and you can hold on to them. It's a special one called Loop Network, and you can work it for a year. It's on the Bitmart exchange, who at this time is not in trouble with anybody, are they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so there, it's on the Bitmart exchange, and you can call or text me at 314-283-1969, and just send a text. The easy way would be just to send a text with Loop on it, and we'll respond with the link. And what you do is you install it on your phone, and it generates crypto, the link crypto, all day long, 24 hours. You have to go on, and every once in a while you get a notice to go in and play a game or watch a game that you might like, and you don't have to upload it or anything. You just watch it. If you want it, you can download it to your phone. But I think your phone will get plugged up if you do them all. So anyway, give that coin a try, and let us know how it works out for you. So okay, so that's our station identifier for right now. Now, one of the things that we've been watching is the Russians are attempting to create a digital ruble. And I assume they're probably not the only ones trying to make a digital coin out of their fiat currency. But what do you think of Russia attempting to create a digital ruble, and other countries trying to do the same thing with their fiat currency?
Well, I think in this case, Russia's just doing that to attempt to skirt sanctions from Europe and the U.S. due to the war in Ukraine. And whether or not that works or not, we'll see. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be very popular, kind of like their ruble.
It's not going to be very popular right now. Yeah, I was reading an article about Russia, and they're pretty much saying that Russia is pretty broke right now because nobody's buying their oil or gas in Europe, and the war is costing them a lot of money. Probably the people are unhappy also, and that affects your productivity. If people quit going to work because they're depressed or whatever it is.
Right.
So if it takes off, the world won't be able to easily sanction the country. But this is what Iran did too. Iran was trying to develop a digital currency. I don't know if they did. Do you know?
I don't think they ever got around to
I don't think it's done. But that was their idea, was they were going to do a digital currency so they could get around the oil embargo. And who else do we not like? Iran, and there's another oil country that was trying to do the same thing. So I haven't really put a lot of time into getting that one, and we are coming up on our break. So I want to let you know that if you're just now joining us, you're listening to Cryptocurrency Odyssey, airing live weekly on KWRH 92.9 on Fridays at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, and nationwide on Zeno FM /your city, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, for more information, you can call me at 314-283-1969. And we do have an 800 number. It's 877-212-1400. And you can visit our website at ccodweb.us, where you can leave us a message, make a comment, and also our videos are on YouTube. This one will be on YouTube here sometime this week, probably today or tomorrow, and you can just search for Cryptocurrency Odyssey on YouTube and then subscribe there also. So go ahead and give it a try. Let us know what you like, comment on everything, and we are heading into our break now. So after the break, we're going to talk some more about our markets, cryptocurrency, probably a couple of coins. So our break has started now. Here's the music. Listen to the break and come on back and we'll talk.
Commercial Energy Consultants is a 10-year-old company focusing on middle to large commercial accounts. CEC offers these companies services by lowering their electric and natural gas rates. They don't charge for this service, and they've got over 9,500 happy clients with over 1 billion kilowatt therms under contract. What makes them different is their reverse auction. CEC offers a way to have available suppliers in 17 states bid openly for energy business. Why, their mission is clear. Bring their clients the low bid for their energy consumption. In fact, because of their competitive auctions, energy consumers would be well advised to consult with CEC first. Why pay more for the exact same power? For more information, contact Mike Grimes, CEO of Commercial Energy Consultants at 1-877-212-1400. That's 877-212-1400.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our #1 priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland.
Attention! Here are 5 things that you can do to avoid coronavirus scams based on the Federal Trade Commission guidelines. Number 1, do not respond to text messages, emails, or calls about checks from the government. The government never sends emails requiring that you do anything. Number 2, ignore online offers for vaccinations and home test kits. Number 3, hang up on robocalls. Scammers are using illegal robocalls to pitch everything from low-priced health insurance to work-at-home schemes. Number 4, watch for emails claiming to be from the CDC or the WHO. Use sites like coronavirus.gov or usa.gov/coronavirus to get the latest information. And don't click on links from sources that you don't know. Number 5, do your homework when it comes to donations. Never donate in cash, by gift card, or by wiring money. For more information to help you be prepared, contact Tony Zifilopoulos. He's a 25-year IT professional with the last 6 years specializing in cybersecurity. Tony is a certified information specialist auditor, and he will review your cybersecurity. Tony can be reached at 314-504-3974. That's 314-504-3974. And email TonyZ@fixvirus.com. His website is www.fixvirus.com.
Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
How would you like to get cryptocurrency free on the Cryptocurrency Odyssey radio show? Loop Network is crypto money-based on a mobile-based system that brings a different perspective to the crypto industry. The mining experience is playful and straightforward, making it easy for everyone, regardless of background or previous knowledge of the LN industry, to be able to earn LN. The best part of the concept is that it is entirely free to get started and mine LN. Just download the app. The Loop Network app will allow you to start withdrawing mine coins from the 1st of June 2023 and provide a secure system for players to make transactions and see your balanced transaction history, where the transactions of your LN coins can be monitored. To sign up for this free offer and join the crypto world today, call or text Matt Leach at 314-283-1969. That's 314-283-1969.
Hi, listeners. Welcome back. We're on the downward swing for the show now. If you're just now joining us, you're listening to Cryptocurrency Odyssey, airing live weekly on KWRH 92.9 FM on Fridays at 10 a.m. in St. Louis, and nationwide on Zeno FM /your city, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, for more information, just call me at 314-283-1969, or you can text me. And now our discussion today is a beginning course for people that want to be educated in the world of cryptocurrency. So we're going to continue talking about our discussion of exchanges here in a minute, but first, a joke. Everybody needs a laugh. Okay, my joke today is about my friend's daughter. She shows her banker father her work on Bitcoin's Lightning Network to speed up transactions. In response, he asks her if she would like to hear his opinion on Bitcoin. She replies, "Yes. It's worthless," her father says. "I know," she replies, "but let's hear it anyway." How about that, huh? You heard it first here. So, okay, so on with the show here. For my next question here for Noah is, we've talked about all this cryptocurrency and the exchanges and what we need to do, but when I finally get into the mix, how much cryptocurrency should I own?
How much should you own? Uh, I think that that's a subjective question, and I think that the best thing is just like on the stock market, own as much as you feel comfortable with, or the best advice is own as much as you're willing to lose, you know, and don't think about how many coins you own or how many shares of stocks you own or whatever it is. Think about the dollar amount. How much money are you willing to lose? And with every trading strategy, you have to have a strategy or a plan first before you can even start trading. So you have to identify how much money you're willing to lose, and then you have to set up how much you want to buy of what you want to buy, and setting stop losses is probably the best way to do that. But for me, it's going to be different than it is for you, or how much, it is, how much your friend's willing to lose is going to be different. But for me, it's usually like if I'm unsure, I'll go with a bare minimum amount. It's not about how much money I'm making, it's about how much money I'm losing for me. So, if I like the stock that I was just talking about it's opened up at $22 a share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's down $7 per share. I have 2 shares, so now I'm negative $14. I'm like, it's not a big deal to me. I'm going to sit there and see. I'll hold it till the company goes bankrupt. I mean, it's only, for me, it's only $50 that it costed me to buy the shares, so, or a little bit less than that. So, for me, if I lose money, it's only $50. But
Mm-hmm.
for somebody else, that $50 might be the difference between them eating and not eating for the day or the week or whatever, So
Right.
that's why it's so subjective, because it's all based off of what people are, what their finances look like and what they're willing to lose. And as always, you always want to play with money that you have, not money that you've loaned out, or money that you've gotten loaned out from another person or a company or something like that, thinking that you'll take out a loan from a bank for $5,000,
Yeah,
and
you don't
then
want to do
thinking
that.
that you're gonna make 10 grand off that 5 grand, or make 5 grand off that 5 grand, so you can pay off the loan and still have 5 grand left, or whatever it may
That
be.
would be nice.
The market doesn't work that way. You can't predict what the market's going to do. You can take an educated guess if you've done the research and you understand how the market works. But even for me, I'd say that I've gotten lucky more than I've gotten unlucky. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've lost some money, but I've made more than I've lost, so I'm still positive and I'm still doing okay. But if you're unsure about something, invest a minimum amount. All right, like if you're sure that it's eventually gonna take off, then invest what you consider a good amount. If you're sure that if you're 100% sure that it's going to take off, then invest as much as you're once again willing to lose, or your maximum amount that you're willing to lose. And with these types of things, it's a lot of these people that have like $10,000 or $20,000 cash accounts and stuff like that, they either have been doing it so long that that's money that they've built up over time, or they're well off to begin with. People that show, oh well, I have 100,000 shares of this at $5 a share or whatever. Those people probably didn't do that overnight, and there's also a good chance that they're trading on margin, which is just as good as taking a loan out from a bank. And I I personally have a cash account, and I'll never have a margin account because to me, margin is how you lose a lot. Because if you have a margin account, then you can get what's called margin called if you make one bad bet. And what does that mean? That means that they liquidate your account in order to cover the losses. So you could be looking at, or if you just lose it all, then now you're indebted to this company and you either have to pay or file for bankruptcy, whichever one it is. And that's why I like cash accounts, because they also don't have trade restrictions on them like the government likes to do to people with under $25,000 in their margin accounts. You have trade restrictions, and that's to protect you from losing your money all in one day. And I'm like, you could still do that in one day,
Yeah, sure.
So,
now, you were talking about have a strategy, and my strategy in the past has been to go read a few books. Go to the library and get some books on stock investing, or cryptocurrency investing, or both, and read them, and do a couple of just trades that are speculative, whatever, to get the feel of the trade. And these guys that wrote the book, we hope they know what they're talking about, okay? But they wrote a book, and you can see the steps to trade. And so start out small, and again, don't spend the money that you don't have.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays you can find all that stuff online, though. Everything that those books could tell you. If you prefer books, I do. Like when I'm doing my tutorials and stuff, I prefer to physically have a book in front of me, because I think it's just reading it is much easier page by page than on a screen for me for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school. But anyways, yeah, that's good information. There's some good places that you can go to, like Investopedia.com.
Right, Investopedia is good. They're big.
You can Google Investopedia, or you can Google investing, and there's a bunch of really good free resources out there like Investopedia, and you just have to make sure that you're getting a quality website, not some website where the guy's going to try and sell you what his calls are for today, or this is what you should be investing in today. Like I was talking to a guy earlier this morning that ended up blocking me because he was trying to sell his little call, his little profit, how to make profit type of thing, where he has like a Discord channel or something, which is just a voice chat thing where you can chat with multiple people, kind of like Zoom, but it's more for gaming and stuff. But anyways, and he was sitting there like, oh, look guys, I made this, I called it. And he posted pictures, and I looked at the pictures, and I was like, you called it after it had already started moving up in an upward trend, so that doesn't really equal you calling it. That just means you saw an opportunity, and now you're trying to tell other people and sell yourself to other people to try and get these people to do their monthly subscription or whatever it is for your calls or your trades for the day. And he didn't like that. Because, I mean, if he would have been like, oh, well, it's down, if he would have taken a screenshot of saying, hey, this is about to jump, when it was down to like $8 instead of waiting until it was up $7 before saying something, that's a different story. But if you're trying to do that when it's already in an upwards channel and it's already up $7 for the day, then that's not somebody you want to deal with, because they don't know what they're talking about, because it's already in an upwards trend. Anybody with two eyes can see that, but there are people out there that do try and sell those types of things, and I prefer not to listen to them, because it's kind of like listening to people on like CNBC talking about the stock market or something. Yeah, okay, they might have made some money, but they have money to play with. A lot of people out there don't have money to play with.
Exactly.
So are you going to spend $10 on a monthly subscription to some random dude on Discord, or are you going to take that $10 and invest it and probably turn it into 20 over time? And the only way to do that is by doing and learning. And Investopedia, once again, is a resource that I use a lot because there's a lot of terminology and stuff, and you can't remember all that stuff just off of
Right.
right off the bat. So if somebody, for instance, like in Webull, people will use terms that I'm not aware of, so I'll immediately go to Google, type that term in, and figure out what it means, and then figure out if that's something worthy of addressing or thinking about in the future. And half the time it isn't. Sometimes it's good information to know, but like if you go to the stock market and you look at the price movement of a stock, and then you click on the little down thing that tells you like its highs and its lows for the 52 weeks, PB, PS, stuff like that, and then you don't know what those terms mean, you should be Googling those terms. What does the term PS mean on the stock market, which is price per share, which is the trading price for a stock, or what people would be willing to pay for a share of that stock, even if that stock price doesn't reflect that price. That's a bullish signal to tell you that, hey, this stock is undervalued. And people should be looking that up, especially if you're not a stock market wizard. You should be looking this stuff up, because then you don't need to take cues from somebody else who's saying, oh, well, for $10 a month, I'll tell you what stocks to trade and when to buy, when to sell, when this is about to do this or when this is about to do that, yada, yada. You can do that on your own through learning. And anybody can learn that stuff. It's pretty much just critical thinking skills, and it's critical thinking skills, math skills, and common sense. Those are the three things you need to know. Or
You got to be able to add and subtract.
Right. And for me, the math part is the worst part, but that's what calculators
is
are
for everybody. Yeah,
that's
what calculators are for. Yeah, right.
So once and it's just basic math too. It's not the hardest thing in the world to know, but you got to have a little bit of math skills plus common sense and critical thinking, and you'll be okay. Learn the terms, learn how to read a chart, and you'll be okay. Now for cryptocurrency, like I've said before, that's a little bit harder to do, but the terminology pretty much stays the same throughout. But trying to learn the chart of what crypto's going to do, like I've said before, that's too volatile. It's hard enough to try and do what's called technical analysis on cryptocurrencies, but more so you're not trying to do technical analysis, you're just trying to look for trends. All right, so
Sure.
Because cryptos like to do what's called running together, like Bitcoin, pretty much if Bitcoin goes up, you can guarantee that Shiba Inu is going to go up, or that Ethereum is going to go up, or that whatever is going to go up. And Coinbase, for instance, will tell you what cryptos run together. That way you can look at what cryptos to try and invest in. Like Shiba Inu has a bunch of cryptos that run with it that I've never even heard of. And I'm it'll tell you mostly moves together or runs together, or slightly runs together or whatever, and that's all good information to have. And then you got to get these information from multiple different sources so you can slap it together and figure out what you need to do.
So when you say all these coins that are running together, is that a good strategy, is to find the coins like that?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And since Coinbase makes it so easy, I do trade on Coinbase too, and I have a little bit of money on there right now. And since they're since they've been in talks with BlackRock, or I think it's called BlackRock, is the asset management company that holds 10 trillion in assets right now. Since they've been in talks to do the Bitcoin stuff with their most wealthiest clients, I think that Coinbase is going to be a solid platform to put your money into, although I would still be weary because anything could happen at any moment, especially since the SEC is investigating them and all that other federal regulations come in.
Something came up with BlackRock the other day, and I'm trying to think of what it was.
Probably just about Coinbase going.
Well, it was Coinbase, yeah, but I guess I think it was tied into the SEC investigation of Coinbase.
Yeah, it might be. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll
have
to read it again.
So yeah, when a strategy for trading on like Coinbase, for example, would be if you want to trade in one coin and you see that other coins move with it, and that means if it moves up, like let's say Shiba Inu moves up, then coin number one moves up with it because they move together. Same thing if Shiba Inu were to go down, that coin would also probably go down. Nothing's guaranteed though, but the strategy would be to buy as little or as much coins that move together as possible to maximize your returns, because then you're also diversifying your portfolio, which is a big part of trading, is not to just put all your eggs in one basket, but to find companies that
exactly
move together and have a trend where one company goes up, the other company goes up too. Maybe they have a deal or something, or they're working together on a project or whatever it may be that causes those companies to move together. You want to get those. Like there was some company, I can't remember the name of it, but it was on the stock market. There's one called Funware that I used to trade in, and then there was another company called that had something to do with Donald Trump. I don't know, I don't remember what it was called off the top of my head, but I think it was called, like, I think the trade was like, the trading thing was like DWAC or like DWAC or something like that, you know,
DWAC
or DAWC or something like that. But anyways, when the Donald Trump stock would go up, Funware would go up too. And then when Donald Trump stock went down, Funware would go down. And the reason for that was that Funware is a technology company that was helping that Donald Trump company build the Truth Social networking site. So they were doing some mobile app stuff for them, and that's why they were moving up and down. And having shares in both would be a good idea because they move together. If they move up, they both move up. If they both move down, and then you want to get outside of that and find some other companies that do the same thing. That way, if, like, let's say the Donald Trump one goes down, so does the Funware. Now you're negative on your day's profit and loss. But if you diversify, you might have those other ones might go up as well. And then while the other, you want one to go up while another one goes down. That way you're not losing too much money for the day,
right?
But you're not gaining a whole lot either.
Yeah,
you're kind of
covered.
It's kind of a balancing act, and a lot of people can't seem to figure that out. It's about balance on the portfolio, and that's it. If your portfolio balances, then you're more likely to see profit than you are to see loss. Or you might just break even, which is just as good as gaining profit because you're not losing any money.
So what do they call that strategy?
It's just I think of it just called diversification.
Diversification, okay.
Yeah.
So my tip of the day actually was talking about what you're talking about, so I'm going to read it right now. Bitcoins are only one part of the story when it comes to cryptocurrency, of course. There's 20,000 different cryptos out there now.
Right.
The number is growing
every day.
When we started this, it was like at 16 or 17,000 6 months ago, but it's already over 20. Now, don't place all your eggs in one basket, and I think that's what you're saying, with a group. You're not in just one basket, and as you may end up losing more than gaining. It's that simple. Do your research and see which coins are thriving well with the most use cases that you can benefit from. And that's the research part. Research everything before you put the money out there. What you will use your crypto for will be up to you, so choose your assets wisely. And that's the tip of the day. So that pretty much finishes up what you were saying. My next question here, after you've done all your research and invested in your crypto coins, and you've been really good at it, you made a lot of money, is cryptocurrency taxable?
Depending on the exchange you use, like Coinbase has been forced by the IRS and the federal government to give you a 1099 or a W-2 or whatever it may be to show how much you've made.
Okay.
Places where you invest in stocks and bonds, same thing. They have to give you something telling you how much money you made, profit and loss, and then what that balanced out to, and for anybody who's trading on the stock market, that's a no-brainer. But the same thing happens with cryptocurrency based off of the exchange that you have. Like, I'm on Coinbase, so Coinbase gives me one, every year for tax purposes. But, right now it's not that big of a deal. It's only like my Coinbase account's only a couple $100.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's not just for Coinbase, though. That's all the exchanges, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to be doing that. I don't know about the smaller exchanges, what they do or don't do. But like the SafeMoon exchange doesn't. I have the SafeMoon wallet and I have money in that. They don't give me one, for that exchange.
Okay,
for
so
SafeMoon, I
so
don't have
so
it.
you're on your own there, or
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they report to the IRS. And I know Coinbase does, but I mean, they also have 285 billion in, or at least that's what they had before the crypto crash. They had $285 billion in assets. So, obviously the IRS wants to tax that as much as possible.
Oh, sure, sure.
And so does, they want to tax that for everything. And, like SafeMoon, for instance, I have their wallet, I have money on their exchange, but as far as I know, they don't report to the IRS whatever you have, any profit or loss.
And why is that? Do you know?
Probably just because they don't want to have to deal with it.
Well, it's safe. Like I know a lot of the exchanges are in foreign countries.
Yeah,
and
as far as I know, they operate in the U.S. It's
But,
probably
yeah.
just because of the amount of assets that they do or don't have. That, or they're telling you to take care of it yourself and leave them out of it.
Well, yeah.
And then ultimately, it's on you as the consumer to report your losses and your gains.
So is cryptocurrency taxed at the same rate as fiat currency?
I believe that they'll tax it at the same rate as what they tax on the stock market. So if you gain $1,000 on the stock market, be prepared to pay 30% taxes on that.
Okay.
Or I think the lowest they do is like 10%, depending on what you make. But I would say take $300 of that and set it aside for taxes just in case. And anything and if the government decides, oh, we're going to tax you 10%, then you save $200.
You got an extra
20%.
Yeah. That's interesting. And is there a good blockchain for beginners? Do you think? Does that make a difference?
I'd just say I think it would be more like the exchange that you're on, other than the blockchain. The exchange, I think the easiest one to use is Coinbase by far, or Webull, but Webull's also stocks and bonds. So, but they do have crypto on there. But if you want to go strictly with crypto, I think Coinbase is the easiest one to get started with, because they just make it way too easy to invest your money in them. Like, extremely easy. I have their app on my phone, and if I want to put more money in there, all I have to do is type in my debit card and transfer $100 over there. So
sounds like fun. Listeners, that wraps up our show today. We hope you enjoyed the new show, and of course, tune in next week when we continue to explore the world of cryptocurrency. You have a great week, and remember, don't take any wooden crypto.